Herzlich willkommen zu Trading Spot, deinem Podcast für echte Einblicke in die Welt des Tradings. Informativ, authentisch und immer am Puls der Märkte. Schön, dass du hier bist.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Trading Spot, dem Podcast der TradeNeon Academy. Es ist jetzt mittlerweile eine ganze Weile her und deswegen freue ich mich riesig, dass wir heute mal wieder einen ganz besonderen Gast mit dabei haben und das ist der liebe DeLorenzo von Volland. Die heutige Folge, so viel kann ich euch schon mal vorweg verraten und vorwarnen, wird auf Englisch sein, denn Jason ist Amerikaner und spricht dementsprechend Englisch. Wir werden uns ein bisschen über das Thema Dealer Hedging unterhalten, über die Plattform Volland, was sie für uns im Trading für Vorteile bringen, wie wir sie nutzen und allgemein, was das Phänomen des Dealer Hedgings in den letzten Jahren mit den Märkten gemacht hat und natürlich, wie wir es uns unterm Strich zum Vorteil machen können. Ein sehr, sehr wichtiges Thema und deswegen freue ich mich riesig, dass Jason heute sich wieder die Zeit genommen hat und mit dabei ist. Hi, Jason. It's great to have you back in our podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Oliver. I'm sorry, everybody. All I speak is English and option Greek.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, well, since it's been a while, we last had you as a guest here in our podcast. Many of our new listeners might not know who you are and what you're actually doing. Would you be so nice and tell us a bit about yourself and what it is that you're doing with Volland?
Absolutely. So my name is Jason DeLorenzo. If you can follow me on X, I am at WizofOps. I have a decent following, and our focus on Volland is with option dealer positioning. Unlike a lot of other option dealer positioners that make big assumptions around option open interest or some other common option metrics, we actually consume the whole option data feed, every single option trade that's out there, about like 50 million a day nowadays. And we have a algorithm that categorizes each option as dealer bought or sold, and we calculate the Greeks on the net positioning for dealers and aggregate it, and you see all of that on Volland. My background is I am a bachelor's and master's in economics, and I worked for 16 years for the American government as an economic analyst, but I've always really liked options back since about 2010. I've been trading options, learning about them, reading a lot of academic papers. I got mentored a couple times by former market makers who taught me all about how to trade with Greeks and how they traded with Greeks when they were market makers. So we have a lot going on here at Volland, and I'm happy to bring you up to date.
Absolutely. So for me personally, since I first learned of the phenomenon of dealer hedging some years ago and its significant influence on market movements, Volland became my, I would say, #1 software for market analysis. Volland is one of my personal key factors that I pay attention to. Funny thing, a customer of mine asked me the other day if there was one tool or software in trading that I could keep and I'd have to get rid of all the rest. What would it be? And actually, of course, I had to think about that, but my answer was Volland. I'm pretty sure that it would be possible to trade options successfully just based on Volland data without even using a price chart, actually. That does not mean that I want to do that, but I'm pretty sure it would be possible. I have
well,
to
let
say,
me tell you something,
yeah.
Oliver. So over the past, starting in October of last year, we actually launched a hedge fund, where we basically, we do use a little bit of outside stuff, but it's primarily all Volland. And we have 3 different strategies using Volland, one on individual equities, one on day trading, and one on swing equities. And it performs very well with Volland as like 90% of our data input.
Yeah, great. So I have to say on this point that what I just said was not meant to be a general advertisement in any way. I don't receive any financial benefits or goods from you guys. Just to say that, in fact, I am paying for your software like anyone else does, and I have to admit it is the most expensive tool that I am using right now and that I probably ever use. So still, Volland would be my #1 software choice since our last episode together. A lot has changed. Not only in the markets, especially the options markets, of course, but also with the software Volland itself. Can you tell us a bit about the latest history of the last year and what you actually developed there?
So over the past year, we have started creating some different metrics that the way we actually categorize options, we would be the only ones that would be able to give you. For instance, because we have a fair value calculation that's it's proprietary, but I mean it's not all that different usually from the midpoint calculation.
Of course, yeah.
We can determine how much edge dealers are capturing with every single trade by determining the fair value, determining the execution price, and that gap that's in between there is the edge that the dealers are claiming. The larger the edge, the less liquidity is in the market. So we have a Volland-specific liquidity indicator that it's called delta adjusted dealer spreads. So we've done that. We have fixed our aggregate trend, our aggregate Greek trend. So you could see how Vanna, Gamma, Vega, any Greek that we have, we could see how it trended over the past 6 months. And it goes a long way in helping determine whether you kind of get a bullish or a bearish bias. We also have included a spot vol correlation. So you could see how changes in implied volatility is reflected in the changes in SPX or whatever underlying that you have. And we've done that for all 240 of our of the tickers that we have. So you can look and see how much options impact is actually in a lot of these tickers. We also have revamped our front end. So our front end used to be very static and just exposure charts, cumulative charts, etc. We have now created a widget style. So you could create a workspace with whatever data you want compiled into one workspace and however you like to work it. We've also revamped our hedging widgets. So it's not perfect. I mean, like I wouldn't count the numbers to be specific, but it would give you also a bearish or bullish kind of lean on how dealers are acting at this moment using notional values. I mean, yeah, we've done a lot over the past year. Now that I'm thinking about it,
you did actually. You did.
You don't realize it until you start rattling it off. How much we've done.
I love seeing the software growing.
Yeah, we've also we've included a 0 DTE widget. The Volland community kind of has our own 0 DTE paradigm that kind of a matrix that we look at. And it helps us determine on intraday trading how you should trade your options or your futures or whatever you do. We've included a screener where, we have 240 stocks. You're not going to go through every single one every week. So we have a screener which determines like what is the largest movement in Vanna, let's say. And it lists like all the largest movements over a day time frame, a week, a quarter, and a year. So that helps too. We also have launched a 3D chart. So you can, instead of just looking at one expiration or a group of expirations at a time, you can look at all expirations at a time and identify where those huge option spikes are. So yeah, I mean, we've updated quite a bit over the past year. Now that
You've been busy.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we've been busy. Oh wait, and one more. The one more that I really like is the Vanna heat map. So we made a heat map because Vanna is typically calculated with fixed priced volatility. And we wanted to change that instead of making assumptions based on skew changes. So we've done that. We've calculated Vanna impact on fixed price volatility, and you could see every single option on an underlying at one time on our Vanna heat map. So yeah, that over the past year, we've introduced quite a bit.
Great thing. So, well, as many of our listeners surely just realized, obviously, the whole topic of dealer hedging is quite a complicated thing, especially when you just start out to learn about it. So I think it's a great thing that you're actually really active. You've got your own YouTube channel where you offer and publish videos on a regular basis. But what I wanted to talk with you about is you mentioned a white paper that is available on your website for free, by the way, and which you worked on for quite a while. Can you tell us a bit about what you did there and what benefit it has for your customers?
Yeah, so first of all, ultimately, I am a data analyst. I'm an economist, and I do believe in academic studies. I wanted to validate or invalidate the data that we had. And, if it turned out to be invalidated, what changes can I make? And so not last December, but the December before, not December in 2023, we released the findings of our data, both on the 0 DTE and on the swing tenors, right? We basically did a one day kind of a regression of what we saw as dealer hedging and in Volland, and what the market actually, the changes that the market made. And from a swing standpoint, the results were very compelling. For Vega hedging in particular, we saw that Vega hedging and spot price and SPX were correlated in the same way that skew is correlated, in the same way spot price and volatility is correlated. We saw that our delta calculations had a very strong correlation to market movement. So there was a lot of compelling evidence on the swing side. And then on the 0 DTE side, there was a lot of compelling evidence that the way that 0 DTE options are traded can be a big determinant in how the market moves in that day.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point because, there are so many tools and softwares out there, fancy tools showing a lot of complicated data at the first glance. And I think it's always really important to actually care about that data and to be willing to prove that this data actually has value for everyone who's working with it. So I think it's an important point that you actually take this really serious.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest thing, especially when you're trading and you have something in front of you, you have to be able to rely on your data. Like, you cannot question your data at all. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're trying to trade plan around bad data. If you have, faith in your data, and you have to, in order to get faith, you have to prove it, at least, maybe not even beyond a reasonable doubt, but you have to prove the fact that your data works. And if it doesn't work, then, then go, you can't, you have to change it. But the white paper, to me, is what validates Volland and allows for people to have that faith in that data. And, obviously it's not going to work 100% of the time. There's always going to be outside influences.
Sure.
But you have an edge, and you could trade plan around that edge.
Yes.
And you don't, you were saying that Volland can be expensive, but it's more expensive to lose money on data that you don't understand, that you can't rely on. It's way more expensive. So, so that's why I think the white paper is an important part of what we did with Volland.
Absolutely. Agreed. I have a personal question concerning your own trading style. Would you regard yourself more as a swing trader or as a day trader? What is like the time frame that you like trading in the most? And what probably many of our customers are interested in, are you active in zero DTE trading?
Okay, so personally, I am a swing trader, and my tool of choice is options. My poison of choice is options. I do a lot of I use Volland primarily because that is edge. I feel good with it, and I trade with it. So what I do is I look for areas of resistance, mainly through large positive Vanna strikes on like a monthly tenor, and I look for those areas and I sell kind of calls there. And on the bottom, I use, like the put support, I sell puts there. So a lot of times I will have long volatility, or I'm sorry, short volatility trades. If there is no support or there are no calls above, I tend to go long volatility. So I will buy options net, right? Do verticals or something like that. And so options are my tool of choice. I typically do swing. I do hedge using zero DTE. So if I have sold a call, but I see that there could be a bullish run, I'll sell a call, say like March OPEX for today. But if I see a possible bullish run, which I don't, not financial advice, I will maybe like buy a 1 or 2 DTE call or a butterfly or something that would hedge upside so that it preserves the capital if the market were to go against me, and I kind of see maybe the market might go against me.
Makes sense. Yeah.
As for our fund, though, I mean, one of our traders, Hunter is his name, and you see him on some of my YouTube videos. He uses Footprint and Volland together, and his returns have been astounding. I mean, his Sharp ratio has been over 4 for the year so far. So, I mean, he's been killing it with zero DTE trading. His weapon of choice is futures, though. So,
okay, amazing. I mean, it's been a complicated year, I would say. The current market phase we're in, we actually did the last 2 episodes of our podcast talking about the current state of the market, which is very political and, well, so congratulations to that result.
Yeah, well, it just takes one comment, and next thing you know, it's the market shoots in one direction or another.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times that provides opportunities. So when you have Volland and you see like where the bottoms are, I mean, I think today the bottom was at 60.80. We saw that it was a big, huge charm strike right at 60.80, and you're like, well, that's something you can play mean reversions off of on zero DTE very, very easily.
Yeah. One more question concerning the 3 secondary Greeks, gamma, Vanna, and charm. Most people have somehow heard of gamma hedging, GEX, which stands for gamma exposure. So there are a lot of tools and softwares out there by now who can be used to analyze gamma and its supposedly effect on the markets. Now, we know that most of the basic assumptions that many of those softwares are based on are wrong in one way or another. From your opinion and experience, and most of all based on your research, what is the most important of the secondary Greeks, and does that change under certain conditions?
So second order Greeks, gamma, Vanna, and charm in particular that you mentioned. I mean, there are other ones like Volga and other ones.
Of course, yeah.
Those 3, though, are the 3 that use in order, gamma being underlying movement, Vanna being implied volatility movement, and charm being time decay, how that impacts deltas. And deltas are how dealers hedge. So that's why we focus on those 3 in particular. In accordance with our white paper, the one that has the best leading impact as far as if you're a swing trader in particular is Vanna. And that's because dealers do not religiously hedge implied volatility. They religiously hedge delta and gamma as a result too, but they don't religiously hedge implied volatility. However, changes in implied volatility do change deltas. So you can kind of foresee how dealer deltas are going to change based on Vanna. And that's on a swing time frame because implied volatility changes are more apparent in that time frame. If you are trading 0 DTE or 1 DTE, we like to focus on charm because if you're 0 DTE, there's only hours until expiration. Time plays a huge part in that decay. So we focus on charm on the nearer term, and anything more than maybe like 2 DTE, DTE being days till expiration. Anything more than that, charm is minuscule compared to Vanna. So that's what we use, though. Charm on the 0 DTE time frame, and Vanna on a more swing time frame. Gamma actually has, believe it or not, Gamma actually has a positive correlation with price as opposed to the implied volatility spot vol correlation. Gamma actually is an opposite indicator of the way price is going to move. So we that we found in the white paper, and it was quite compelling. It just basically says that Vanna is way more important than Gamma.
Yeah. I would agree on that, and that basically matches with our own research and our own experiences in the last year in the 0 DTE area, as well as everything that's correlated with swing trading. So, last but not least, for anybody out there who is interested in that topic and is willing to learn about dealer hedging and its effects on the market, do you have a basic tip on where to start, what to do first? Of course, beside watching our own dealer hedging basic course that you can purchase on our website, TradeNeon-Academy.com. Well, okay, that was an advertisement. But what would be your tip? Where to start? It's a complicated thing.
So when it comes to dealer hedging, the first thing, if you're just starting out, completely green, I know nothing, right? And I want to now get in the market, and I feel that dealer hedging is going to give me edge. Okay. If you're starting from that point, the first thing to do is get familiar with the Greeks. That would be even the first and second order: delta, vega, theta, gamma, charm, and Vanna. Charm and Vanna, you're going to find a lot less literature on. But yes, understand what the options are. You do not have to trade options in order to take advantage of dealer positioning. As I said before, we have a trader that uses futures. Traders use equities, just, the underlying, buying or selling stock. It's not my weapon of choice, but it's other people's, So if you just kind of understand what the Greeks are, what they mean from a dealer perspective, you could go on my YouTube if you want some introductory videos. But if you're getting to know options just to start, there's a bunch of books out there. Yuan Sinclair has a book. And one of my favorites, if you're mathy, kind of like me, Colin Bennett has a very good book called Trading Volatility. Get familiar with the terms, and then you could come to Volland. You could also watch the Sparring Academy's basic options course too, because I think, from my experience, Oliver is a great teacher, and he can boil complex you could boil complex concepts to a simple description. So I think that that's also a great place to start.
Absolutely.
And then when you're ready to get into dealer hedging and how dealers hedge and why they hedge that way, then you could come on over to the Wizard of Ops YouTube pages. You could watch a bunch of videos and come to our Discord. I don't know if you want, Oliver, if you wanted to put an invitation. We do have a public Discord, a general Discord channel, and which is free to join. Ask some questions, learn how Volland can help you trade using dealer positioning, and then start practicing. We have I give 0 DTE alerts to subscribers, and we log them and put them on a chart for the day, every single day. You can come on the Discord and look at that and then practice, and you can get this very valuable data through Volland, VOL.LAND.
We can definitely put your link to the Discord channel in the description. It's a great place to start. It's a great community. You can ask your questions there. You can actually chat with other people who are probably in the same situation as you are. So definitely check it out. The books that Jason just mentioned, they're not for the faint of heart. So they're quite. You have to have some love for numbers to actually enjoy them and read them, but they're really good books. So yeah, I would recommend them too. So what are the plans for the next year? What can we expect from Volland?
So as far as Volland goes, we are going to make a volatility plane, so you can look and see how volatility is changing on all tenors of whatever underlying you're choosing. We are going to be introducing futures very soon.
Interesting.
ES and NQ are coming within a month, I think, and it just depends on our data flow. And we right now we're kind of accepting suggestions on people, because futures are a completely different exchange. They're on the CME exchange, and they have like a bunch of other sub exchanges. So if we're gauging interest in like gold, agriculture, energy, stuff like that, we're going to provide that probably at an extra cost, but ES and NQ will be included. So futures will be very soon. The volatility plane. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other things. We're also launching probably within a month or two or so. We're going to organize all of our YouTube videos into a learning management system. So free, that you can access before you're a sub. You can come in and learn progressively also about dealer hedging. We are not a replacement for his thing, but we're just talking. We're talking mainly about how to use Volland in your trading. So
great.
So that's what's coming down the pipe.
That's great news. Actually, especially talking for myself, because I'm a commodity trader for all my life. That's where I originally come from. So I'm quite excited on how the Volland data is going to play out in those markets too. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's as far as like from our preliminary kind of studies and stuff. Agriculture is a big one. There's a lot of edge in agriculture because there's agriculture futures originally were made in order to hedge your physical holdings of agriculture. So we could see even what the market price is, like the hard, prices for like a unit of corn, let's say, and what the futures price is. And you could also see how the options are structured so that farmers can guarantee a certain income. And that plays a big part in the movement of the futures markets. Even sadly, more so than the actual underlying, like if if like a bushel of corn or whatever is, $5, the futures markets move that price more than the actual supply and demand of corn. It's kind of scary. So, I mean, there's that. Rates is a huge one. SOFR rates, standard overnight financing rates. There's a lot of open interest. There's more open interest in rates markets than there are in SPX. So a lot of the rates markets move SOFRs more than options move equity. So I mean, there's a lot of compelling data that's in there that we're excited to unpack.
Great thing to hear. I'm really excited. So it's going to be a really interesting year for Volland users, for traders like myself. Jason, thank you so much for taking your time and being here with us tonight again. I hope we'll see you again sometime in the future.
Oliver, it's a pleasure. Always.
Dann bedanke ich mich bei euch allen wieder fürs Zuhören. Ich hoffe, die Folge hat euch gefallen. Heute mal ein bisschen Nerd-Talk, würde ich sagen. Ein bisschen komplizierterer Kram, aber es ist super wichtig, denke ich mal, im heutigen Marktumfeld sich auch mit solchen Themen zu beschäftigen. Die Märkte werden komplexer, die Märkte werden digitaler und wer als Trader, gerade als privater Trader auf lange Sicht also seinen Edge behalten will und am Markt erfolgreich bleiben will, dem rate ich auf jeden Fall tunlichst dazu, sich auch mit solchen Konzepten auseinanderzusetzen. Volland ist eine große, tolle Anlaufstelle für sehr, sehr hochwertige Daten und ich meine das durchaus ernst, was ich vorhin gesagt habe. Volland wäre für mich persönlich die erste Wahl und das wichtigste Tool in meinen persönlichen Trading-Entscheidungen und dahinter stehe ich auch wirklich zu 100%. Insofern hoffe ich, die Folge hat euch gefallen. Jason ist ein super sympathischer Kerl und wer Fragen hat, checkt auf jeden Fall die Community von Volland aus. Wie gesagt, sie ist grundsätzlich erstmal kostenlos und wenn ihr Volland-Subscriber werden wollt, dann gibt ihr es alle Informationen dazu auf deren Website. Wir verlinken natürlich selbstverständlich alles in den Beschreibungen. Als Volland-Subscriber bekommt ihr dann auch auf dem Discord-Channel die entsprechenden Infos zu Zero-DTE-Alerts. Auch das auf jeden Fall ein Riesen-Edge, denn Jason lässt euch da im Prinzip Tag ein, Tag aus an seinen eigenen Überlegungen teilhaben, was auch für mich in meiner Anfangszeit, als ich angefangen habe, mich mit diesem Thema auseinanderzusetzen, sehr wertvolle Informationen war. In diesem Sinne, vielen Dank fürs Zuhören. Ich hoffe, euch hat die Folge gefallen. Und wenn ihr gerne mögt, dann hören wir uns in 2 Wochen wieder. Bis dahin, macht's gut. Ciao.
Vielen Dank fürs Zuhören. Bei Fragen, Themenvorschlägen oder bei Interesse an unseren Angeboten besuche uns auf www.TradeNeon-Academy.com. TradeNeon – Education and Software for Traders.